A new age server alarm, and this is System Test 30. Starting my room today, and I got the BG12L and the RSS and an MT horn that used to be a horn strobe, but as you can see I took the strobe off because it was broken, and I cut grooves because under the strobe this part is flat. It looks alright, the only problem is there's a hole there and a hole there, and yeah. And as you can see, I switched out the flat wire for wire mold. I was just getting so sick of that stuff, it was driving me crazy. System is set on 2-stage. First stage is going to be a short beep every so often. And second stage is slow march time. So, here we go. Push in, pull down. It's going to automatically go into second stage after 1 minute. You see in here, I did the same thing. I got rid of the flat wire and put in wire mold, MT and older century. Gamewell smoke in the kitchen, and I have Gamewell smoke detectors just about everywhere now. Basement strobes are synchronized. There's actually a sync module inside the panel, and I'll be going over that later. And here is the panel. I moved it to the basement. It's gonna go into second stage in a moment. And here's this pull station. So I got rid of the giant board, replaced it with nice conduit. But you saw I moved this over here, and it's gonna be loud. That's so loud. Let's go acknowledge that. That's getting annoying. There we go. And the sync module quit clicking for some reason. So there we go. The MT and conduit. Gamewell pull. Looks very nice. Looks real. Looks like a real system. Looks like something you'd see on a real system. Doesn't it? Anyway. And alarm silenced main floor. Alarms 2. Weird. Oh, I know why. The second alarm was because of second stage. So, reset that. But, wait, there's more. It won't reset because the pull station upstairs is still alarmed. So, we have to reset that pull station. Remember with all the other times when I'd reset the pull, the panel would reset? I mean, when I reset the panel, it would reset then go back into alarm? Well, not anymore. And now let's reset that with the Annunciator. Resetting. Takes a little bit of time. Takes some time to reset because of the smoke detectors. They need quite a long delay to reset, so that's why it takes some time to do. So there's the Annunciator and security system keypad. I don't really have anything connected to it yet, but I have it up there for show for now. So let's go see what else is in this system. Oh yeah. Gamewell smoke detector in the hallway. That's new. And close the light. Close the light. Turn the light off, I mean. Had a grandparent who used to say close the light all the time. Anyway, continuing. Let's go out to the garage and see what I did. My car. Oh, now we're in the garage, and got the FCI MS2 pull station, and nothing. No, there's something. Wheel lock MT mounted directly above the pull station. Vertical strobe MT. Pretty cool, isn't it? Looks much more professional, I think. I've been doing I rewired a lot of this system, and it looks a lot nicer and a little bit more professional, and the wiring is also a lot better than it used to be. So, but what else? You notice the heat detector? It's missing. Well, you can't see it because of the reflection, but the heat detector is not up there anymore. It's actually been moved over here. See? Heat detector. UMMT. There's a reason why it's there. It's not hooked up though. Well, it was hooked up, it isn't now. And game well smoke detector. First time I've ever had a smoke detector in the garage. The reason why the UMMT was there because I was originally going to do a 2-stage system with chimes and horns. And I had the UMMT in here to act as the chime, and I had 2 wheel lock chime strobes in the house, one in my room, one in the basement. One in the basement was DOA though, which I was very, very unhappy about. For those who don't know, DOA means dead on arrival, meaning it did not work when it came not functional. Verification. Try it again. It takes a long time. Okay, first stage. Now the thing with first stage, it'll go into second stage to activate another zone, like it should. So let's go see what the panel says. Fire alarm first stage, garage. You hear the sync module clicking away in there. Pre-signal. That should not have happened. Still working some of the bugs out of this thing. Now it's in second stage and it's freaking loud, so let's silence that. Oh, 2 alarms, 2 zones were activated, so it's got 2 alarms. And later function I'm going to add is it's going to keep track of the zones that were activated. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to make both a physical and a code modification to the panel. It's going to need more external memory. It's going to need more memory for that. There we go. Reset. And I already did the pull in the garage, so reset the panel now. While we wait... Okay, it's done. There. Takes a little bit of time for that to go. Alright, so why do the lights keep turning on and off? Okay. See this little box right here? Do you remember this from the sneak peek? Well, there's another box directly across from it. It's a laser light switch system that I made. And you walk in, lights come on. You walk out, lights shut off. You walk in, lights come on. But if you have a friend come in, I'll do my arm, the lights stay on, alright? Now if I walk out, the lights still stay on, and if my friend walks out, the lights shut off. So it counts the number of people that walk in, up to 255, and it counts the number of people that walk out. And when the number hits 0, the lights shut off. If the number is at least 1, the lights come on. Pretty cool. Alright, now back to the fire alarm. You can see I built this cabinet up here that has a bunch of stuff in it and wheel lock MT. I was originally going to have a Simplex 2903 right there, but as if you've been reading my feed on my channel, you'll know why that fell through. So, alarm cabinet, wiring, power supply is up there, and the panel, of course. Now, but there's some other things I want to show you. I've done something to the zones that I have not been able to do since my very first alarm panel. Alright, watch this. System trouble, computer room and shop, also known as the basement, because I pulled the detector head down. Now let me put the head back up. And trouble is clear. Reset. That's right, these zones are now 24 volt and they support 2-wire detectors, which is something I've never been able to do until recently, until now. That's not the only feature about this system that I have. This panel is loaded with features, alright? It has got a lot. The configuration menu is longer than ever. In fact, the 8005 never had a configuration menu, it just had signal coding. So, yeah, you read right, that said I/O card. So, let's go menu by menu. Signal coding, 90 beat march time, code 44, continuous, wheel-lock, system sensor, and Gentex sync, and Faraday sync. And there's also code 3 and march time. 2-stage, we got 2-stage and use both NACs. Auto GA time, the time it takes to automatically go into 2nd stage. That's configured between 1 and 10 minutes. Go back. 1st stage coding, slow march, code 3, or pulse. I haven't tested the other ones. You know what? I'm doing the system test. Why don't we find out what happens? Just out of curiosity. Let's see what it'll do. Wait, let me check one thing. I'll explain what pre-signal does after this, but let's see if I did fix the code 3 or 1st stage, or if it'll just crash. I don't think it'll crash, it has a failsafe, but we'll see. Okay, you can trigger 2nd stage by pressing drill. So let's see. Oh yeah, it does work, okay. Alright. Yeah, so that's new. You can select a coding option for 1st stage instead of just that short pulse thing that it used to do. Let's go back to 2-stage and set it back to what it was. Slow march, okay. Go back. Zone 1 coded pull mode, that's on and off. Off, off. Pulse the NACs, which means every time the coded pull pulses, the NAC pulses. If it's set to off, it just counts quietly. And coded pull mode. I don't have a coded pull hooked up right now, though, so I can't demonstrate that. Panel name and zone names. Now these are one of the big... These are 2 of the 3 biggest features of this panel. Alright? Take the middle panel out. There's the sync module, by the way. It's a NAC extender. And panel names, zone names. There's actually a keyboard port on this panel. That was the automatic menu timeout, in case you're wondering. So this panel has a keyboard port, so we can take a plug from a keyboard, which is over there. You can see it through the window. And plug it in. And it'll say, hey, identify a new device. And it'll load in the appropriate drivers. You'll notice that this scanner built... Whoa. Okay, I'm going off topic. Anyway, there's no drivers to be loaded, though. It just works. I plug the keyboard in and it's ready to go. We'll put it right there on top of a stool. Open up the menu, config, panel name, and it says Andrew's house. Now let's change that to say New Age Server 2. So we can type in NEWAGE, put in too many spaces, SERVER 2. And there you go, right there on the screen. I should have capitalized that. The trouble LED comes on when you press caps lock or shift. Panel name New Age Server 2, hit OK. Asks you to confirm it, hit OK, and it's saved. Do the same. We can do the same for the zone names. Zone 1. It loads up the name that's already saved. Down, OK. Next. Zone 2, down, OK. Next. Zone 3, and then you can exit by hitting OK instead of down. And you see it just kicks you out instead of moving on to the next one. So I can actually name the zones, and the panel, and all of these names are saved on the panel's internal memory, the internal EEPROM, which has got to be a very, very cool feature. All right. So I'm gonna leave the keyboard plugged in for something though. Next option. Oh yeah, auto exit. Config. Now let me show you what pre-signal does. I have it set on zone 4. Let's turn on for zone 2 then. Go back to normal. Now remember it's in 2-stage? Well, do you remember when I did 2-stage in system test 16, anything could activate 1st stage. I activated a smoke detector and it went into 1st stage. Well, real systems aren't like that, so we're going to activate the smoke detector in my computer area, which I've moved, as you can see. And, wow, I'm shaking. Wow. This thing isn't making much smoke, is it? That should help. Yeah, that helped. Okay. So, the thing about the game mode detectors is you have to smoke them out for them to actually sound. To actually activate. They don't have a magnet test or a button test. It may look like it because there is a little hole right there, but that hole is just to install a tamper screw, so it can't be twisted off the base. There it goes, and pre-signal has been activated. And what that does is it cuts the power to the detector, as you can see, and then waits 30 seconds. During the 30 seconds, if the detector activates again, it's going to go into alarm. But if the panel reaches the 30-second limit before the detector activates again, then the panel self-resets. So, trying to smoke it out. There we go. As you can see, it went directly into 2nd stage because it can tell them apart now. Because it is able to tell them apart. So, alarm silenced, computer room and shop, and the detector's still activated. So, let's go ahead and blow the smoke out of that. Here we go. Put that back up. Yeah, so that's the point of pre-signal, and it only does it on smoke detectors. It doesn't do it on pull stations. The point of it is if the detector is in an area that's prone to false alarms, then you could put that in there for false alarm prevention or protection. And I think that's a pretty good idea. So, but I don't need that on zone 2, so let's go ahead and take zone 2 out of pre-signal. As you can see, it can be programmed on any zone individually. See, like I have it set on zone 4, which is the smoke detector in the kitchen. The smoke detector in the kitchen is on zone 4, and eventually I'm going to have a heat detector and a smoke detector in the attic, and those are also going to use zone 4. So, yeah. Signal coding 2-stage, zone 1 panel zone, automatic silence set to 5 minutes, and it can go from 5 minutes to an hour, or constant. No auto silence, but I have it set on 5 minutes in case it goes off and nobody's home, it'll silence itself, which is a good idea. And now for the big one, I/O card config. This is actually a sync module right here. This is a NAC extender, but it doesn't run standalone. You notice there's no dip switches on it to set the coding option? Well, actually, menu quit itself. It actually uses a serial data link between the panel and the card, and all the configuration is done on the panel. Just config, I/O card. Select I/O card. There's only one on the system, so that's the only one that shows up, but if there were more, I could press these buttons to pick one. And see it automatically identified as a NAC card, and we can change the coding and the card name. Eventually I'm going to add the function for 2-stage behavior, but for whatever reason I didn't do that. But later on it will. So, signal coding, card name. Signal coding, let's see, it's set on Wheelock sync right now, but we can change it to code 3. So the strobes are going to be acting weird, but, you know. Code 3. So now it's set on code 3. Silence. Oh, silence is the exit button. There. So now when we activate the panel, watch what the strobes do. That's all being done by the NAC extender. Reset that. Crap, I forgot. Shoot, I totally forgot about the bug. It won't reset from alarm. It's a little thing I have to fix on the NAC card. There we go. I'm gonna have to fix that. So as you can see, there's still a couple of bugs I'm trying to work out, but so far it works quite well, this panel. So let's go into config again. Turn off 2-stage. There we go. I/O card and basement strobes, it automatically identified itself. Signal coding, and let's change that back to Wheelock Sync. There we go. Card name, just, whoa, it did not get the name. Just like on the panel itself, it can read the, just like on the panel itself, the NAC card can have a configurable name that is saved on it. So let's see. And okay. Is this correct? And now it's just sent it to the card, so let's see if it worked. Yeah, it worked. See, now the card is programmed as basement strobe NAC, and the name is saved on the card itself instead of in the panel to save internal memory. There, now it worked. Weird. Anyway. So, that's the I/O configuration. This card is totally programmed by the panel itself, internally. So there's nothing that has to be done, so we're done with it, so we can unplug the keyboard. So you don't even have to remove the middle panel to program the I/O card, unless you need to plug in the keyboard. So, I could change the signal coding on the I/O card right from the panel, which is cool. Ow. Which is cool. There we go. Middle panel is back, and shut the door. There we go. Now this panel case I made it myself at SMCC in the metal shop. Came out pretty nice. It's larger than the original 8005 case, and so I think I've gone over everything about the i8005 except for I haven't done walk test in a long time. Their walk test mode, last zone tested, none. So let's take a screwdriver and open up the pull station right here. And let's walk test it. Two pulses for zone 2, which is expected. Try some more. Let's do the pull in my room. One pulse for zone 1, and as you can see it says last zone tested, main floor. So it keeps a log. Let's try the garage now. The garbage. The garage has some garbage in it. Three pulses for zone 3. And if I had zone extender cards, all of the zones on the extenders would be assigned numbers, and it would pulse the number that the zone on the extender is assigned to. But I haven't built a zone extender yet, so I'm not going to do that. As you can see, Annunciator says last zone tested garage. So I think we didn't do the kitchen zone, but it's going to take a while to do because of the smoke detector, so we can go ahead and reset that. The trouble LED is still having issues. Resetting from the annunciator this time, again. I'm still having problems with the trouble LED. I don't know why, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I wanted to make the system test, so I didn't bother fixing it, but I will. Now, you'll notice the annunciator does not have a key switch. When I was building the annunciator, I totally forgot about the key switch, and I wasn't able to fit it in. So what I did instead was added a password lock. As you can see, it says locked. Press unlock, and now you have to punch in the code, which it keeps doing that. You have to punch in the code, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. And now it's unlocked, and we can reset the panel. Pretty much when the system is normal, we can only reset it and alarm it, so we can sending. It takes some time to silence when you do it from the annunciator, because the panel and the annunciator have to line up at the same time. The panel has to listen, and the annunciator has to talk at the same time. When you press the button on the annunciator, it floods the serial line with silence commands, but the panel has to receive one at the same time. Think of it like taking a machine gun, an automatic machine gun, and shooting it at a plate that's moving up and down. You only get it when a bullet hits the plate, but every time the bullets miss the plate, it's not receiving the signal. But every time the bullet hits the plate, it receives the signal. And then once the panel receives the signal, it tells the annunciator that the signal has been received. And it gets rid of the word sending. So, you can silence that now, or reset that, I mean. Same thing with the reset button, only this time it takes a little bit longer. Resetting. There we go, reset complete, system is normal, New Age Server 2. Like we programmed downstairs, it used to say Andrew's house. And, yeah. Now the annunciator has a small menu on a small configuration menu. There's only 2 options. So, you hit Realarm, which opens up the menu. Annunciator config, set code 1234, and unlock on alarm. If the panel alarms, if the annunciator receives an alarm signal, it automatically unlocks the buttons. But this, as you can see, is optional. Set code. Whoops, variable issue, I guess. Set code 1, 2, 3, 4, and it can be set to any 4-digit number, and it can have zeros in it. So, exit that, and back to normal. Reset. You don't have to reset, but it doesn't get the zone name, or it doesn't get the panel name. I'm going to add a small line of code that tells the panel it would like to know what the zone name is, the panel name is, because of that little problem. But anyway, it works quite well though, and it's got an LCD, and I've never had an annunciator that tells me what zone has alarmed. So this is the first time I've ever had an annunciator that can do that, which I think is great. Let's go back downstairs and show one more thing with the panel that I didn't show. Here's the panel, and let's open up the menu. Test function, silent test. Silent test is on. Now, this is going to do something unique. Once I've got NAC supervisory working, I haven't fully figured out a way to get it to work correctly. I've been doing some experiments, and something looks promising, but I keep having back EMF problems. So it's not working right now. Silent test mode is on right now. So if we activate a zone, let's see. You know, I'm just going to do it from the panel's drill button. Notice how the panel's internal piezo does code 3? Once I get the NAC supervisory working, I'm going to build in a function that if the horn NAC or the strobe NAC are faulted, if they're in trouble, or worse, if it detects a short circuit, then it's going to do that. Why is that still on? There. Now it's normal. That was weird. Okay. See what I mean about the bugs? I have to fix that bug. The thing is, you can debug the heck out of it when it's on the table, but if you don't have any devices connected, it makes it awfully hard to debug it, to debug other functions if there's nothing providing visual or audible feedback. So I've still got some work to do, but it works for now. I mean, now my house is protected again because I've got an actual panel running and I got a system going. And yeah, so it's been quite a long system test, but this is my longest system test ever, and it was more explanation than alarm sounding. But thank you for watching, and system test 30 is finally done. Have a great day, everybody.